Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this ongoing Norse series of the Sognsdal Saga here on the Lord Master channel, in which we have united Norway as of the last episode which occurred there. Well, now our focus to the attention is going to be a little to the south, and then recently had thought about the idea of, well, I wouldn't want to expand it and keep it for myself necessarily, but I'm thinking about, even though it's the dual part of Norway, thinking about getting those to, 3 islands, and this would lead us into Iceland, which remains divided. It remains divided between our faith and those of Celtic Christianity. Because I know that ever since the addition of the North Atlantic flavor pack, I mean, there is a little a decision you can take when you play in Iceland and you unite all of Iceland, and you would enact this decision where you basically form the Kingdom of Iceland, I believe. Yeah, the whole, like, you've had the duchy, and then you form the kingdom, I believe, and would also create a new culture that would be diverged from the Norse culture, which would be called Icelandic. Like, if anybody's going to be doing that, it would be me, through my dynasty. So, in the long term, my youngest brother, Togir, I think he should have the honor, where it's like, first, like, we're going to take each and every one of these islands, which each one of them should be autonomous, and then give Togir Iceland, and then I will grant all of them independence, so they can all function one another. Yes. While we just focus on the mainland of our homeland of Norway. But, however, I mean, that's easier said than done. I mean, we'll probably do these things first since it'll be easiest. Not to mention a little time consuming. But there's also that little part which is supposed to belong to us. But we know that my friend over there has it. But since he is my friend, and normally I would send my mother to send her the city out and say, how many troops do they have? But since he's my friend, I think he can tell me of the current army size and leading veterans. I'll be willing to spend some prestige for that. I mean, he is friends with me, so request it. I'm sure we'll hear it momentarily. And also, this woman here is making a shield for me while we try to fabricate a hook, but even though this is likely going to end in failure because it's been exposed because she's paranoid. Because when you have a paranoid trait, scheme discovery chances +10. So I may have to fabricate a hook on some other inspired person. And knowing we would be up against a larger realm, and as well as potential allies, I would be willing to expand the size of the army by creating 2 more men-at-arms regiments. I'm thinking about doubling the size of the Vigmen and the Mundi. No need to expand on the Huskaros. Just these 2 very cheaper ones. So get me more of these. And that. He's spending nearly most of my prestige for this, but we'll just have a much beefed up army, as some would say. So we could stand toe to toe equally between any force that Europe throws at, if we wish to. Not to mention splitting the raiding parties for loot. Like, we can't just have one fits all, but I can imagine when we assemble these 2 raiding parties, one should go to England, one to Francia, or Flanders, Norway, Germany, anywhere. Anywhere. That's what I can imagine. And plus we still gain a tiny bit of prestige in return. So now, And oh yeah, and one more thing. I'm also seducing my drunk husband who's become paranoid as of late because in the last episode, he's been cursed by the Nithing Pole. Fatally cursed. They know their doom is coming, just not when. And the fear is eating them alive. So anytime that there's an event that it causes them to get stressed, he's going to have a mental break easily. So I kind of feel bad for him. Doesn't really say. Other than he has a few friends as vassals, and that's good to know. I got plenty of friends too. Let's get moving on this. We made some gold, but lost a bit of prestige and piety. And also, oh gosh, the last episode. Gita. Bjorn, my fan, one of the fighters, used to be married to her. And then I did a intrigue event, which had a 19% chance outcome, and not 19% chance that their relationship is irredeemable. They just had a divorce immediately. I did that so I could seduce Bjorn. That's what I did. So now he's married to this man who is a seducer, and he's beautiful. And a berserker. Which is something that we always need more of these days. A very fertile man, whereas you are chaste. You need to have at least 1 or 2 children if you, Gita. I fear that you wouldn't have a family. But I just hope that I do not interfere in your affairs. Now, our relationship compels me to trust you with the information you asked for. I have united 2,800 men under my banner. If pressed, I currently have the means to bolster my up to the strength of 273 as of currently. And those men are led by 9 veterans. I appreciate your trust, so good to know. That's what friends are for, right? Oh yeah, and did you notice that I'm also wearing a Norse circlet now? So when we reach full strength, then we will go to war against my friend to take this area. So once we have that, give it to my brother. He has the right to the land. This won't work ever. So it is a failure. So I have to go fabricate a hook on someone else then. You're not paranoid, are you? Paranoid? No, won't do. So you can look at that here. I already have a galleon. Not paranoid, but wants to forge something wondrous. Shy but not paranoid, but hostile skin resistance me. Okay. Liege is prepared for anything. 4 years. Okay, what about the other person? Oh, it's the same. And the Liege is also prepared for anything. In fact, are those the same 2 guests there? Oh no, we know it. Got lots of guests. I'll try to go with this one. It says wants to reach something glorious. A clash, a struggle clash. Big intervassal war between one another. Oh, by the way, you see that up there? The renown? It's over 250 now. Which means by now I should have gotten a legacy, but my father is still alive. He's still doing fine, so he's going to be living up to his 70s. So I can't pick the dynasty legacy, as we look at here. So, uniquely for Northern Lords, and if you are a North Germanic heritage, be it Norse, Icelandic, Norwegian, Swedish, Danish, so on, you can pick either pillage or adventure. But knowing who we are now, and we don't pillage as much as some people would think, I would go for this one first. Worry about that later. Celebrations come to an end, the evening's entertainment seem to be over. When Kuniga Selofsmid suggests a reading. A clerk soon arrives, wondering what the guests would like to hear. I see my chance to impress. Well, knowing you are a genius and astute, intellectual, and zealous, so something pious, like City of God. As the clerk reads for us, he seems completely engrossed. Later approaches me. Good choice, Ástríðr, says and stretches. It was great, wasn't it? Poor guy. Poor man. Artifact should be coming up soon. A shield. It's not for personal use. Remember, in the future, we'll take these islands. Oh, hang on. My lady, my friend, Marina raised me with a wide grin, gestured towards a covered armored stand. I've toiled over to the forge many days and nights, but finally my work is done. With a flourish, she rips the fabric, covering where my eyes grow wide. A wooden shield of excellent craftsmanship, constructed from sturdy planks, bound together with a rim of wrought iron. The edges inlaid with boar tusk and painted with images of religious symbols. Magnificent. Sognsdal shield. Tiny but elegant inscription on it, dedicated to the stalwart friend. This adds a little bit more renown and a bit of court grandeur bonus. Magnificent. Put that up there. Oh, it is indeed our dynasty shield. Look at that. Even though it's said to have made of wood, but obviously that shield looks of a Western European design rather than the circular shield that we Norse use around here. My husband is terribly bored. I could see in his face In a way, he vies for my attention at all hours. I know my duties takes up a lot of my time, and that leaves him lonely sometimes. Yeah, when he's lonely, he's drinking. Ever since he got cursed by the Nithing Pole. Best friend? Best friend? No. Huh. He needs tasks to keep busy. Appoint him as my personal champion, but that man can't fight. Well, I guess you're my personal champion because I just need you to have something to do. Alfgeir. Alfgeir Alfwolfpanger. The man who used to rule this area at the very beginning of the series, before we overthrew him. Died of old age at 72. He was an adventurer, which indicated after he was exiled, then he attempted to go invade somewhere and failed. The last time I checked on him, he was actually living over there in Hjelteland, which is actually where Thorun is from. Thorun, the one who's married to my brother. Yeah, she was from there. Now, give me a few months for me to seduce my husband, just to lay with him, and then the size of our army will grow big, and then we'll have a fight against Svithil. In 7 months, from long houses to grand halls. Adds a bit more prestige and levies. My beloved husband. All the servants have been sent away, and our bed has been decorated with roses. As he offers mid. When enters our chambers, he smiles leisurely and joins without hesitation. With the help of hands, mouths, and limbs, we reaffirm the devotion we swore before Odin, perhaps in a more carnal fashion than intended. The bonds of marriage are enough, so lay with him. I don't think this is going to work. No. Not at all. Ooh, severe penalty of health. I don't know, because if she doesn't get her paranoia under control, then, oh, what if befriending her just makes her health even worse should she be very stressed due to her paranoia and her being callous? Yeah, better not. I'm thinking. I'm looking for someone, not anybody who's inspired. I'm looking for someone who has inheritable traits. How robust Herculean. Herculean, yeah. Somebody who's Northman, but not in my code. And has to be a male. And an adult. Okay, not any of them, but there is one pagan. He's a Carolean, but he's kind of far from here. Are we getting stressed for this? Although one would think I should be getting even more stressed because I'm seducing not only that because it goes against faith, but also it's a different pagan. We viewed him as hostile. Seducing him may never know I would have a child who would be of having that physical trait. Because I only have one child and I would like to have at least 2 more before I reach 45. Because once you get past 45, that's no longer childbearing age. Yeah, his old age is getting to him. The mighty Viking my father is. I never was Viking because I don't lead raids ever, personally. Oh, what the heck? That's my sister-in-law who's married to Togir. Died in childbirth. Oh, I'm sorry, Togir. Same fate as my ill-fated eldest sister. Alright, that's good. Named it after your father. Ah, Togir, Togir, Togir. This is your child. You shall raise him. And plus, one day, we're going to send you to Iceland. So you could rule it there, and maybe you'll forge the Icelandic identity, but in the name of our dynasty and as an independent ruler. Because more independent entities of our dynasty would increase the renown. That's the idea we're trying to go for here, for future reference. It's about to be November, which would be an excellent time to start a war of a massive invasion. Actually, he's busy with another one. Smellund. It looks easy. It's been going on for 6 months. They already occupied one territory. The opportunity presents itself. Plus, it's a weaker entity. You must both be in the same struggle discussed, but must not be forbidden during the current struggle phase. This one. Yes. There'll be 2 armies this time. Child is growing in my womb. My husband will be proud. Good. That's good. Actually, you do the sieging. You cover him. There's only one way to cross, and that's through there to there. Father should be doing the sieging. He's the only one that knows how. I don't know what you're doing up there these days. Rough terrain expert, winter soldier. I don't want to lead an army just yet unless there is an upcoming battle that demands it. Okay, Kida, go to that army. They're much more needed over here should the battle come to here. Again, this is a one-way bridge. Well, not one way, but you know what I'm talking about. Because the only other crossing is up there. Prussians. They got Baltic warriors. These are skirmishers that are good against heavy infantry, spearmen, and archer cavalry. And they're very good at forest warfare and wetlands. And do just as well as the winter. So they're potent. And they got a few good fighters. They made their landings. Can't read the battle, but no, Brynjolf's down here. And who's in command of that army? Because I can't tell. But they'll take some casualties for making that amphibious landing and landing right onto Onslow and then. As my belly grows, so does my unease. This is not the first time we're child. This ominous sensation is new. Something's amiss. The cramps come in at night. As I rise in the morning, I find my sheep's bloodied and ruined. Oh, I'm pregnant no more. Oh my gosh, that could have been my son or my daughter who would have been born a genius now. It's gone. Oh gosh. It's not to be. Lucia, the commoner from Ba, is a complicated woman. I need to understand her as well as possible and to convince people to take my side in any upcoming arguments. I will soon uncover the truth. People describe Lucia as both impressive and miserable, which tells me more about their relationship there than anything else. Also, a curious number of people mention how she often taps her foot and talks about various poisons in her application. I'm sure this information will be useful. Yeah, they're taking quite a bit of casualties up there as they're just holding off as much as they can from the forces of... Oh, wait a minute, was that you that's leading that army up there? Yeah, that was you. Even though you were in totally separate war, but now you got caught up in this little affair. Only took some levies and some of their Baltic warriors with them. Grand Halls is finished, but not willing to spend my money on other things just yet. We got a war going on. And we will soon take the objective. step out of my tent, the siege camp sprawls up before me. A sword festering mire of human waste, smoke, rotting animal carcasses, and human bodies. Flags snap and fly on the rain-drenched wind. Shouts and cries ring through the damp air. My loyal retainer approaches and forms into the siege's end. I gather my bodyguards and head to the edge of the camp. The herald of Konagahala, that's quite a name of a place, stands before me, a charnel house. In the fields between, the dead and dying lie piled. Wounded men beg for water. Smoke coils from the blackened stone buildings. Their windows shattered, walls pitted and scorched. Shallow craters dot the traveled fields between. Peasants run away this and that, weeping and screaming in terror. Crying children cling to the backs of fleeing men. This is part of Norway, so spare it. No looting. As much as we'd like to, but this is considered our territory. Let's deal with the Prussians. I want to be present when the day that battle comes. We're gonna catch him regardless. It's gonna be just me. Men-at-arms, reinforcements are en route. Be second in command, fellow shield sister, because what we have here, I mean, should you ever fight against them, they have to be dealt with swiftly, because they are none of our faith. You're the one with the reinforcements, and you gotta get there fast. Be there in 17 days, while the battle is set in 7 days. Engage. Reinforcements are across the battlefield. I see Enrichment's Björnsdottir atop his horse. I've always learned to try to get into position the enemy to better understand how they think and how they prepare their attacks. But with the biggest Björnsdottir, I can't imagine anything past being disgusted by his religious views. But Buddhism is surely a plainly false religion. I stop to think, should I keep trying to learn his image of battle and use that against him? Or should I shut off any invasive religious thoughts? Maybe he sees this battle differently. I mean, I'm gonna be, stressed regardless. My efforts succeed. Glory is widely known. I'm exalted among men, and we've captured the ruler of Dróttning. And now I'm known as the Great. Dróttning Ástríðr the Great. Gita, head back and defend the area. I'll see to to chase them down, because I suspect they may go to Scythia. That's what I suspect. I didn't become a holy warrior, but I've become the Great. That's a label I would like. One of the better generals. And as for you, I'm sure you got plenty of wealth. Oh yeah, he does. We are indeed shadowing them. So we're gonna fight another battle over there. A small battle. Which are basically, one would think, they're covering their retreat for them. I'm actually gonna continue on with this scheme. By the time when I turn 45 or so, I will have to switch from temptation to skullduggery. Because in 3 years' time, I'll get this, and by the time I'm in my 50s, I will be more of a schemer. That's the lifestyle trait that befits someone like her. Knowing what she does these days. Now or never. Kibroy's reactions to my advances tell me everything I need to know. The time has come to put my plan into action. I think my chances are good, but yet I must remember that his liege, Peliko Marapa, is always watching. She's the ruler of Kakisami. It's a very forested land. Well, she's not leading an army, but she's watching. You never know. Not to mention possessed, so who knows who she'll be asked to. He will be mine. All because I want his money, his strength. My beguiling paramour. As I draw close to Kibroy, I do not know whether to tear the clothes from his body or punch the wasteful smile of his face. He kisses me, a challenge, and I drag him closer, a fitting riposte. The warring feelings in my chest are echoed by our bodies. We spend the night delivering both insult and bliss unto each other. I think this is likely because of well, not only a cultural difference, but faith difference, and most likely, difference in language. We don't understand each other. It's just, I knew I was attracted to him, and he's kind of attracted to me in such a way. We're just making love and beating the heck out of each other, one would think. But however, I do want him because he's got good prowess. He'd be useful to us. And plus, doesn't like the liege very much. So, for once, kiss me again, my cocky fiend. Seduced her rival during a night of passion. Now, elope. Egads. I mean, yeah, we'll match her Lily and Mary, but there's no chance of that happening. Because, like, what if she knows? You may want to hold off on such of that line of thinking. You may want to hold off on that. And plus, do I really want to... Oh yeah, now that adds a strong case of why I should break up with my husband. He's becoming a liability to me. That Nithing Pole is now... He's now a lunatic. I think something must have triggered him and it caused another mental break, and now he's a lunatic. As much as I'd love him for his intellect, but this cannot stand. That Carlayan man. I'm much more into him. But in the meantime, the question is, does the liege of his know? Oh, when the shouting and barking starts, the stronghold walls of Kakisam are still uncomfortably close. Before anyone could spot me, I dismount and hide behind some trees by the side of the road. My heart is thundering like a drum, and the hunting party gallops past. Hurry! Dróttning Ástríðr cannot gone that far. Oh, what will happen to us now? She exposes the secret. She knows. She's revealed that I'm seeing him in secret. But the truth spreading like wildfire. Our passion might not have been as hidden as we would like to believe. Who are they to judge? Now I'm an adulterer. Oh, that's a blemish on my record. But, nevertheless, I will remain as the great, rather than anyone else. But of course, you can't punish me, because I'm the ruler of all Norway. Unless there's someone who decides to step up and challenge me to trial by combat. Which is their way of saying things like, if we can't get you in prison and get you to justice for doing what you did, but still, he likes me very much because of all the... Listen, we can still be friends. But you... I can't be with someone like you. Who's a drunk and a lunatic. You want to leave this realm? Becomes my rival should this happen with the elopement, if the elopement should be complete. Now it's elopement. We can invite 3 agents if needed. Yep, we've made that woman mad. There is one potential ally though. One second. Let me send you a little gift. Barely. Oh, I thought of another. This useless No, I'd rather not have that, thank you. What can I do to convince you? Board game. Oh, in an army. Oh, hold on, we're in battle now. Unfaithful. My husband's loafers, his tears are hurt far worse than the harsh words ever could. I stand crestfallen as he buries his face in my blouse. Ástríðr, how could you do this? I love you, you foolish woman. It draws a long, quivering breath. Come back to me, my little firebrand. Leave that bampont and everything will be forgiven. I cannot deny my feelings for him. Yeah, he's a total foreigner. It's just, he's got something that you don't. When I first saw you, you had an intellect that I was very interested in. And then ever since you believed you were cursed by the Nithing Pole, that's what changed. You've been changed, not I. Indulging myself in combat against some of the enemy's levies, I find myself slashing through weaker and less trained forces of these, cutting down a few enemies every few minutes. The soldiers alongside me are equally thrilled as their unmatched skills give them easy kills. Eventually I find myself clashing with a slightly shorter, skinnier opponent who rushes to me frantically. I step aside and allow them to fall past me, stumbling to the ground. As they stand themselves up, their helmet slips off, revealing the face of a boy, no older than 16 years old, and not with a single hair grown on their face. Also, they clutch their blade bravely. I know this fight's unfair. Do I stand around killing him, or do I cut it down like the rest? He's just a kid. Take command, Brynjolf. And track the enemy down. If you need supplies, remember there's a place to fall back to. It's Stange. Would you mind playing a little game of Henefatafa? Henefatafa? Suna. Or Sana, because you know, Finnic names. Takes, let's say the opposite of me, our little game of damn it, I've lost pronunciation. Henefatafa. Henefatafa. Yes, he's about to begin. My Quelling pal tells me exactly how confident my acquaintance is. Man, look at her. It's the Spymaster outfit she's wearing. Her eyes are covered. She goes first, opening the variety of cunning feints and ploys. We're neck and neck, though neither of us is even close to victory. Careful, smirks my brother. One more move like that and you'll activate my trap piece. I'll have you. Our match marches on. Sona. Continue with such devious screws that I'm left speechless. Naturally, my techniques kind of deform our opponent. I'm beating her handily. No, neither of us is close to victory. My opponent stays silent, eyes betraying the grudging respect for skill and impending victory. You'll never see my moves coming. She takes that personally. With a roar of triumph, I surge on my feet, scattering pieces everywhere. The game of Henefatafa is mine. Another fine victory on an indisputable rise towards the role of the King of Games. The desolates will remain seated, hands on her hunches, trying to comprehend where she went wrong. Hey, I'd love to play again sometime. Now, will you help me with something? I'll pay you another. Vessel fit for Dróttning. The Drótning's long ship says much about her. It tells you how rich she is, how successful, what image she wishes to project the rest of the world. I look at my current craft and deemed it lacking, as if to punctuate the thought. A piece of the rigging comes loose with a crack in the whole vessel, creaking ominously as it distributes pressure. Commissioning a new ship is simple enough. But is a simple replacement good enough? I don't deserve a vessel that toils the world about me. This'll do. A dragon, to roar my name. This character's personal longship is the stuff of sagas, its distinctive appearance known across the world. We shall engage them soon. Finest meat available to humanity. This is my cupbearer and my court on fish. Those two Catholic women. I spot my cupbearer, Morag, and Svanhilda wobbling slightly and pouring a drink from one of my rarest bottles for Svanhilda. It is such a shame Dróttning Ástríðr has this made hordes like a dragon. Any friend of mine deserves to drink like a Dróttning, and they don't even blink when they spot it. Ah, my lady, we're preemptively testing all your drinks for poison. After burning my guts of each drop, I shall bear my headache tomorrow as naught but a battle wound acquired fighting in your honor. Nah, my soul is too often closed. A bottle for everyone in court. It's all 5, but it won't last long. Okay, we gotta defeat that Prussian army. Look over there. Sister, can you deal with them? Because I'm too far away to support you. Plus, you've got the best fighting men with you. Including my mother. They retreat back to sea. As the battle rages on, I find myself in the midst of a small pocket of close quarters combat. With the help of my men, we smashed the opposition with ease. But the focus of the attention was on me. Rex escaped the fight without a scratch. While I still managed to get some hits on the enemies, I've seen I lost my focus, and it had to be multiple times as the enemies begin to swarm me. As I take a second to catch my breath after the attack, I notice some of my soldiers are looking on in disappointment. After a particularly miserable show of prowess. I'm normally better, I swear. I think it's already known, so I've agonized over it and the signs are clear. I am with child. It's no cause for joy. I've no doubt it's my lover who's the real father rather than my husband. I mean, it's pretty much open, out in the open now. Can't deny it. I'm already an adulterer. So no one must ever know, even though it's already known. Is the child you bear truly mine, my husband? I know that my devotion has been as a man to Odin before anything else. Take a couple of deep breaths. Of course it's yours, Elopement man. I mean, you've been drinking again. He's gotta be. I hope he's stupid. He's a lunatic. Cutting through the enemies of ease, I find myself picturing my foes like demons. The unclean that I must smite with holy power. Is it just my imagination? Is it just adrenaline? Or fear? Or some kind of combination of the two? Either way, it feels real to me. Now being shown to these demons is a message from the heavens, telling me to use my divine will as a means to strike the enemy down. I continued fighting in invigorated holy strength as I thundered towards Rickus Ulinix of Galilee. Taste my blade. Withdraw. He knows. Yes, Gibroy is the father. It was almost a relief to no longer keep secret. But it's only my husband that knows. Of course everybody knows. The whole damn country knows it. They've passed through Kattegat. Oh, what did you? You fool! You damn fool! That's it. You've served your purpose long enough. Look again. Vassal's prestige increases by 50. Oh, how about I do that to yourself? No, you can't do that. The Chancellor cannot be ordered to increase their own opinion. Okay, who's the least liked vassal of mine? None of Helgum. Oh yeah, the doubter. Oh, I'm jealous of you. Keep it up. Okay. What an episode this is. I'm willing to have that adulterer label on it. So yeah, I'm not going to divorce him right out. I'm actually going with that elopement. And the Spy Master will help out here. You're Carolean, right? No, she saw me. Okay. I thought you were Carolean. Oh my god. They got a large mercenary band. We need to get together. Meet up here in Dróttning. Are they coming toward us? Yes, they are. We gotta hold the line here. Yes, I'm 4 months pregnant and my prowess is knocked down slightly. I ain't scared. I'm ready to die. If I die a fool, it shall be. Based on what they say about me. Now listen. Should the elopement's complete, we're just gonna say, hey, the other man I'm with, we're married now. You're gonna be divorced. But don't worry. We're still good friends. No hard feelings. All I said that your lunacy and your drunkenness does not befit a husband. Does not befit who you are. You're not of a man that I once knew. Movement locked. So, battle is to begin in 3 days, out in the open plains. And reinforcements will be arriving in 14 days. So all we gotta do is just hold a line to defeat them. At least they went to the other direction. These are Latgalian mercenaries. That's who they are. Cautious leader, flexible leader. I mean, we're fighting in the open plains, so it's fine. I'll be unyielding defender. Come on, hurry up, sister. You're gonna take severe casualties. Reinforcements have arrived. Stood on the ridge overlooking the battle of the Barony of Dróttning, a short distance from the Israelites. May and David. The explorer? The explorer. Observed the enemy's forces movements. Everything is going as planned, in accordance to what I organized at the start of the battle. When he turns to me and points out an unexpected enemy rush into the weaker section of our main force. We must reposition our men to defend that charge, he says. We're asking himself to assist in commanding the tactical changes needed. Damn it, I'm in command here. I'm the commander here. Every little bit will help. Plus I get some of that prestige. And some of that martial lifestyle experience, which I think these days we're kind of far away from getting another, so that's fine. Follow me, David, I say before signaling my personal guards to follow me in the battle. Using my experience, I give them tactical commands to follow, whilst maintaining my own authority over the handling the situation. By the means of my experience and his help, we managed to contain the enemy's advance. We both begin to get stuck in the fray of our front line. I lose him in an affray, and I have to pray he makes it out alive, while swinging my blade through countless foes and shouting commands. It's clear to see that my men are glad to have me in command. Otherwise, me or David might receive more than a cut or bruise. These men are lucky to have me in command. But I've been severely injured. Ooh. But thankfully, that revigorating friendship is a huge boost of health, which will expire in a few months, so I ought to be careful next time. Gita viciously dismembered. That was Did you see who Gita just killed? And so did my father. Gita, did you just kill Sigurd Snake in the Eye, the son of Ragnar? Wow. Still have it in you. Oh, this again. Maybe I'm just not good at fighting when I'm pregnant. Okay, Gita, you hold on here. We'll stay here for a bit. Again, we're fighting for the last piece of Norwegian territory. Rightful Norwegian territory. They're mercenaries. They're banded together. I think they're going to take the long way round. Around Van. Nope. They got together with the Prussians. Get down here. Crossing's this way. They're waiting for the Prussians, so they're going to get down together and move up here. Are we overconfident about all this? See too if they could get here. Get over here. Yep, they're gonna be moving this way. Brother-in-law? Yeah, brothers-in-law will be coming on down here. Gita, you're pregnant. Oh, I don't know about this, if you should be fighting him. I'm glad you two are gonna have a first child together because, you know, that man's a seducer. And you are the killer of one of Ragnar's sons, which is a miracle in itself. If I were you, I'd rather take command of this army. Or you want to switch places, but no, the fighting men have to be here. These are all excellent fighters, and they can overcome any hardship. And a small amount of reinforcements with two more of them will be here. You're an unyielding defender. Okay, let me resign here. We'll move everybody so I can figure out. Oh, I forgot about supporting Greenland. Money is not the issue here, so it's been a while since we supported Greenland. Let me see. I'd like to construct a temple for them. You know, get some of that piety back. But that's going to have to wait for supporting Greenland. You know, we have far superior commanders, but I'm the better one here. Do we have an organizer so he could get here faster? We do have a Reaver, if you can spend your money to get him in. No organizers. Blast. Damn it. But don't worry, troops are fully reinforced. I don't know if you really should be out on the front lines, Mother. I hate to lose you. Because you've been excellent to me. But this is a much larger force than we imagined. So I kind of have a feeling that we need allies. Oh, Valdemar. More into diplomacy. I'm not sure. I mean, you are my son, my only son, so of course I'll raise you myself. I think getting a little bit of gold one at a time would be beneficial, because if we're desperate, cheapest mercenaries are already hired, but the next expensive thing is, oh, yeah, that won't happen. Real question is, who hired you? Or where your location? Up there. Actually, he's from over there. Talking about his... That can't be right. And the Somaliland man also had. I mean, this should tell you, it's like, okay, who's under contract with who? You know, that would be good. I'm having second thoughts about all this. Like, should we really? Because that's the largest army we've seen yet. Get ready to move. What the fuck? They're going by sea. They're going by sea. Son of a beeswax. Get down here. We're transferring. They're likely gonna head this way. Stop where you are. Unless they're gonna bluff us. Some pays a little more. Get together. Yeah, they're all going to see. They're likely going to be heading to Tunsberg. And we'll be there to meet them. You follow because they can't turn back. They're going back. Stop, turn around. Stop. They're gonna take their penalty for landing everybody there. We'll probably lose. Okay, when are you going to be here? 17 days? No, best of our fighting men are up there. And you're a better, slightly better commander. They've recently disembarked. So you may want to hold a bit, because they're trying to withdraw some of its forces that way because of the supply limit reasons. So hold here. Remember, battle begins in 7 days. When are you going to be here? 7. And yeah, this will work to our advantage, definitely. I have been given birth to a beautiful little son. He comes into this world blissfully unaware of the secret I must keep. I fear what would happen if someone found out my lover, Kibroy, is the true father. A part of me wants to name my son Kibroy, but I fear that would not be wise. Oh, of course not. Well, you did what you could. Hodaknut. That's quite a name. The world is at large, and none is the wiser to his true parentage. Hush now, my son. There's going to be another big battle coming, and I don't know if I'll live long to see you be raised. "5 days. They're withdrawing all their forces. No! They must not get away." I don't know if that's wise. I mean, you were severely injured, but now you're wounded. Which is, at least, that's an improvement. The battle must be decided here. He knows. But do not worry. He won't be a problem anymore. In about 2 months or so, well, it's likely going to be any time, he's going to be coming. He'll be leaving Kakisami. He used to be wearing armor, but not anymore. I guess she just demoted him. Yeah, they demoted that man. As my scheme moves closer to fruition, swift communication is key. I have an especially clever pigeon which Kibroy could use to send an urgent message to me here in Nidaros, if the need arises. But how would I get the bird into the castle Kakisami? There's no need to improve that, but let me see. No, it's too risky. Plus, we already have a very effective agent on our side. Oh, that's one of their better commanders. Now it's full force. Stand on a ridge over to look in the battle. Out of a short distance from the front lines, me and Bjorn, that's the berserker, ex-husband of Gita, who is still pregnant. Everything's going as planned according to what I organized to start the battle. It's when suddenly Bjorn turns to me and points out an unexpected enemy rush to a weaker section of me. We must reposition our men to defend that charge, he says, or asking himself to go assist in tactical changes. I mean, I'm already wounded, so nothing would happen to me. There's a chance that nothing would happen to me at all. So, Bjorn, I'm in commander here. Follow me, Bjorn, I say before signaling my personal guards to follow me into battle. Using my experience, I give them the tactical commands to follow, whilst maintaining my own authority over the handling of the situation. By means of my experience and Bjorn's help, we managed to contain the enemy advance. We both to get stuck in the fighting with my front line. I lose Bjorn in the fray, and I have to pray that he makes it out alive while swinging my blade to countless blows and shouting commands. It's clear to see my men are glad to have me in command. Otherwise, me or Bjorn might receive more than a cut or a bruise. These men are lucky to have me in command. He's been wounded, but not that's ever stopped the berserker. While this battle rages on, the final preparations are in place. The escape route has been charted, the guards bribed, and Kibroy is ready. Tonight, as darkness falls over Kakisami, I shall free my pet and make him my husband, and divorce the other. There's a 95% chance that I am successful and will materially marry him, while I will divorce my old English husband who's become... Yeah. So, divorce, elopement, it would mean committed a crime. And all of the family members, even though he's got no family, doesn't like that. And of course, Marapa of Kakisami becomes my rival. 4% chance I will fail, which there's no way that'll happen. I'm coming for you, Kibroy. Love endures. As we wait, I cannot help but wonder where Kibroy is now. Did he make it out okay? Will there be pursuers? Spot a torch ahead, moving in our direction, and gesture to my guards to hide. As light moves closer, we can make out two silhouettes. One of them's carrying a sword. That is much clearer. The other must be him. I run to meet my dearest and throw himself into my open arms. The embrace is swift, but sweet as honey. With his hand in mine, I begin to run. Hurry, my love. Gode is waiting. This is just what happened. I elope, provoking her ire. Oh, Kibroy, my sunshine. To think that I can embrace you openly now, with the blessing of both Freya and the people around us. I'm the happiest woman alive. Come here, husband of mine. Even though we don't know each other's language, but we only understand this language. And that is the language of love. And as for my ex-husband, my none. As in, not my husband anymore. You drunken lunatic, you. But he's still my personal champion, which is said to take my place in some duels. If this is the way to get himself killed, should that day come, I wouldn't be mad. I mean, but still, he's my friend. And he taught me his language. Way to go, Andres. Captured some of his cabins. It's 53%. We still hold the objective, but winning a few more battles would be better. Thinking we should take this area. You know, just to gain more territory, you know. Like 1, 2, keep on watch on this side of the river while we will take over the rest on this side here. Brynjolfur, you hold here. We'll go that way. Father, take over. Take Dalaburg. $50 gold. Right, let's enact the decision to send some support to Greenland. I'm all better from my wounds now. Construct a temple, a house of worship in the far north. So, we will gain 150 piety for this and earn additional piety annually from the estates. Increases the bonuses from sending close family or a courtier to settle in Greenland. Yes, it improves its networks by a large random amount, while improving its resilience by a small random amount. If this support fails to arrive, its resilience and networks decrease by a random amount between 0 and 10. This will cost you 200. So let's help Greenland. The Greenland settlements are remote and small, and sometimes depend on those back in Europe to assist them in their operations, even if the colony is thriving. It doesn't hurt us to help, especially since Greenland's ivory is an important and valuable commodity traded along the various Atlantic maritime trade routes. I've thus sent ships with supplies and skilled laborers with the intention of constructing an temple in the Greenland settlements. Though they may live far from us, Greenland's still have spiritual needs and a place to pray to the gods. Temples also serve as community centers, further improving the quality of life in Greenland as well. May these ships journey safely to Greenland. If it all goes well, it'll take a few weeks to arrive at their destination. Better hope so. So yes, I have a son who is a little strong, just like my father. But I feel that I still would like to find a genius. Yes, I'm thinking about it. Because I am that kind of person, and I'm already branded an adulterer, so it doesn't really matter to me anymore. Any geniuses around? Regardless of faith? Well, particularly somebody who would be more... So, again, my ex-husband, but still my friend. He was mad, but he's drunk, so he kind of quickly got over his anger for me, for what I have done. No stammerers. He's the heir to one of the lands, so that cannot be. A what? Cartanian. Ah, Slovenian, also known by some. But he's quite further away. Not to mention Catholic. I doubt that'll work. Because even if you were to seduce that man... Plus, he's a cynic. Oh, you're a brother of the ruler. Well, as long as nothing bad happens to him, maybe you can... Idea? You know, I'm going to go with this. I mean, at least he's closer. Yes, I'm overwhelmed by stress again, but like that ever stopped anyone. The saying is the same. Maybe I'll talk to... Oh, you mean this man? It's like, I'll talk to him about this on the way. By talk, you mean we're at war with my friend. This is, okay, hey, let's have a private talk, alright? It's just say, hey, we hold a truce, a temporary truce, a ceasefire agreement, so to speak, so we can have just a little chat between just two friends. Regarding, about my issues. Especially with people that branded me as an adulterer, but I don't give a damn. I'll go work off some stress while I'm at it. It's sometimes hard to find a motivation to remain consistent when exercising by myself. I could try to find myself a partner who would then not only motivate me on bad days, but also be someone that I could compare myself and track my own progress. What kind of companion would suit me the most? Someone I could look up to. Someone to keep me on my toes. Perhaps someone I know I should never respect. Yikes. The musician Berserker. Charles has a similar physique and can mimic my routine. really up the opinion. Good news from Greenland. I received word that the arrival of my ships carrying the laborers and supplies to Greenland. Work has begun on the construction of a temple in Greenland's settlements. Once complete, it will inspire and comfort the faithful there, and provide them a place to pray to the gods and gather as a community. Excellent. Gain the funded construction of a house of worship in Greenland for the next 10 years, which will earn additional piety from the Greenland estates. And bonuses from sending close family or courtiers to settle in Greenland are increased. Send courtiers to Greenland? I'd like to say... I mean, it doesn't say, but... I may never know. Oh yeah, you can't do that because it's your friend. Courtier. No, there's no option that says, I'm going to send you off to Greenland for this. Which is just a way to expel them, but that's not a thing for it yet. That's what I'd like to see. The Beast of Nidars. My Dróttning, Ástríðr. She marches up to me, hauling my son Valdemar by his ear. This dreaded child's been lying in wait around the corners, wearing a wolf skin for a costume, only to jump out screaming and scaring the living daylights out of people. Wise old woman, let me tell you something. My son is a charming one. We cook on her, which, why on earth would I need that? You may be the wisest of all, but I'm still sticking with my old friend who's 83 and still fine. You harass my son? You're exiled! If only you went to Greenland. I mean, they need you. By their very nature, ting meats can often be extremely boring. If tempers don't flare and no one gets dramatic, then it's just a long list of low-ranking freedmen discussing petty affairs and standing out in the rain. Yet, as Dróttning, I'm required to be here, growing older every second, watching the men of Nidars talk each other to death, wishing a war to save me from this living hell. I mean, I am away from the front line, so I could be doing such useful things at this time, because I have a martial education, so I'll be daydreaming about strategy. This character has spent a significant time mentally planning for future wars, which I do have, including the one that's still ongoing. So she's daydreaming about strategy while she's away from the front lines. Pull back. Withdraw. Just cover them while we try to occupy more territory. Wintertooth. My sister and friend Gita's giving birth to a little son. Since this little one's part of the Sognsdal Saga, she should be blessed with a good name. Oh. Wow. Sigvaldi. That sounds nice. Just only want to know if I just only pick out names that sounds good in my ears, and oh, they're at it again. They just passed through Kattegat. Efficient County taxes. Thank you very much. They're landing to Anslo. Thankfully, there is a building that has some defender advantage. Not to mention fighting in that forest up there. In pursuit of Mime? Memi? How do you say that name? I mean, he's Estonian, mind you, of his affection. Would be helpful to know exactly what his tastes and preferences are. I just want his smarts, unlike my ex-husband. I'm sure I could convince him to tell me. This is very interesting. He's a man of fine taste. This will help me to win his affection. I step out of my tent and rub my eyes. The siege camp sprawls out before me. A maze of tents and log palisades. Standards and colors flap and snap in the wind. Lean against the bare rocks that rise from the earth. Gulls circle above, calling to one another with shrill cries. The smell of tar and neat's foot oil hangs in the air. My Lord Retainer approaches and informs that the siege is ended. I gather my bodyguards and head to the edge of the temple. Harald of Dalaborg stands before me, a wreckage of burning wood and broken stone. In the fields in between, the dead and dying groan and burn, disfigured by flames. Beyond clouds of hungry flies of dust, I note the stench of brimstone. Grieving widows wail in the street, while fire and bodies smolder. Now, this one will allow limited looting, because this is not Norwegian territory. This is the enemy territory. Head out. You follow. 29 days, 30 days. A group of our peasants of our faithful have moved from Bodvin to Jokkmokk. Jokkmokk. Aha. And as a result, this, even though it's ran by a Sami ruler, but now it's no longer a Sami and Ukonisko majority. Now they've become a minority, which is a large minority. So our people and our faithful have migrated into this land now, in these mountain passes. That's going to cause some tension with the Sami, depending on... Oh no, they accept us. It's just... wouldn't want to hybridize with them. That's my friend and king himself. We're actually going to fight out here. "5 days. 1 day. Stop right there. We'll be there in 5 days. Yeah, we'll be there in a day. Move up. Your reinforcements. We're going to start the battle. No, they're not chasing us. They're in retreat. Now I have much more advantage than before because of that recent event I had. No one's gathered. Called Hirsir Ragnar Olafsson in half. Captured more of theirs. He's infirm and gout-ridden, and we had him captured. He had worsening deep disease symptoms. He's going to die while in prison. one in the north. A berserker. And a captain? Yeah, that's his what that mercenary band thing. Wait a minute. They brought more mercenaries? Friend, how many mercenaries do you have? Do tell. I mean, come on, we're close friends. You gotta tell me what you got. Although this shouldn't be allowed, but still, what friends are for? Alright, get back to your places. Take over. Thank you for sharing this information, my friend. I mean, you know that you're going to lose this war, so it would be wise you tell me what you have left now. Win one more battle and then you win. Or just let time tick along. Yeah, this episode is largely about this conflict and those affairs that Ástríðr the Great's been having. And don't forget, we're trying to get her in as well. One's image. I want to improve my image as a lady and ruler. If everyone wants to know me as a great ruler, which I am, it'll be much easier for me to achieve my ambitions. Thus, I want to be known as a great ruler because my piety and faith. Sounds more like her because she's zealous. Plus, I'm trying to get back to being a devoted servant. Spent piety, but at least we gained some for this year of what goes on up there. And when you're in occupied territory, you do reinforce your levies and your men-at-arms this way. My beloved's balcony. Mime's windows are lit by a warm glow. Even from the ground I could see movement inside. My pulse drums loudly in my ears, both courting the chance to bed him, as well as visiting Elopement. It's left me in deep waters. This is from that part of Estonia. Lives in the court of... I mean, the chance is guaranteed, so let me see. Up I go. Surely he'll be happy to see me, if he responds positively. Even though he's a sadist to a degree, but... I mean, he's got to be attracted to me. See how he responds to that. This is that area. As soon as I reach the balcony, he steps outside with like, "Why would you pull such a stunt, Ástríðr? Just use the door like a normal woman. You act as if you have intentions you want to keep secret." The playful joy in his eyes makes it all worth it. No barrier can keep me from you. So all we need is to win one more battle, or just stall for time and see to it. I mean, we know the number of forces they have because he was kind enough to tell me how much he has left. They're gathering up there. Move. If he tries to go that way again, they're gonna get canned. I've been hosting for Sebrino for several weeks, and you helped me to truly see the splendor of Rome under rule. I'm nothing less than honored to serve as your vassal. I am blessed to have such grateful servants. Keep it up. Just want his opinion to be higher and higher. Just shadow him. You're in our forests. That's where you're going to be entering. Heading to ski. That's where they're going. Once the movement's locked, engage. I'll be there. Hold it right there. Then go. Because I want to be there first. When we arrive. Very well then. That's good. Too bad, I mean, I was about to seduce this man, but he beat me to it. I mean, after all, he is my husband and lover. I chose you because you have Herculean strength. So, good. It's good. Oh, his reactions to my events tell me everything you need to know. Time has come to put my plan in action. I think my chances are good. I must remember that his brother, Wade. I mean, it can't be Wade, because Wade is a Western pronunciation. It could be Wade, knowing he's Estonian. I don't think he'll know. He'll be shy on it. I hope. Mime? How do you say his name? He'll be mine, regardless. Draw close and do not know whether to tear the clothes from his body or punch the greedy smile on his face. Kiss me a challenge, and I drag him closer, a fitting riposte. The warring feelings in my chest are echoed by our bodies. We spend a night delivering both insult and bliss on each other. Kiss me again, my worthless buffoon. It might be needed. One day. Now I got two lovers. But mind you, I'm already pregnant, so he can't, you know, it's with me, you know what I mean? As the Battle of the Barony of Ski rages on, I find myself drawn to the fight more than usual. Picking my fights, I manage to slay a few of the enemy footmen, but the protection of my guardsmen, and here's Sarah Ulfa, for a moment I feel indestructible, cutting through waves of foes, my soldiers like a squad of elite warriors. Then it happens. My lady! Shouts a familiar voice as I dive from it. It takes a fatal blow destined from my chest. The blow came from none other than his who wrenches their blade from a lifeless body of brother-in-law. The pace toward definitely tip. Brother-in-law. My old ally. Well, my nephew is now ruling that area. I'd like for you to come here. I'm gonna need you here, right now. Just leave your nephew behind. Leave your nephew behind. He will be fine. There's only a 4% chance that I'll die, so it doesn't matter to me. So, you will pay for that. As his armor charges towards you, I take a step back, blade at the ready. Swinging his blade violently in my chest, I block it perfectly and jab it in the shoulder of his sword arm. While he wails in pain and unable to swing back, I draw my blade to the side and swing it to the base of his neck. His head tumbles onto the floor before me, eyes and mouth still frantically moving. I stop momentarily to usher a prayer for my fallen brother-in-law. But no, now is not the time for grief. I return to the battle, shaken but alive. I've won, but at what cost? I avenged him. We maimed him. He'd killed another man. That was the Prussian that led me on. Added to the dedication of faith, because in the Battle of Ski we were facing a commander who is of a different faith's origin. So therefore now I'm back to being a devoted servant, as it should be. 3 years of bloody war, and it's finally over. Brother, this land is yours. One second. Are you sure that I can't give this to you now? Under partition, room cannot be given to, does not stand to inherit. Uh-oh. Not the land? Oh, Valdemar's gonna get it. Even though I'm voting for that now. Oh, no, don't worry, I know what to do. I'm gonna make you a shield maiden. And you are just, patient, and diligent. You do have the fighting skills for it. And you do have the bodily strength to do so. You are my youngest sister. If you want to get revenge of those that killed you, it's time for you to start serving our country as a shield maiden. I'll hit that. Actually, I got a better idea. I mean, you're a shield maiden now. Now you wear the armor. I'll create this title so I can make some prestige back. See if I could give this to you. No, cannot give it either. But I don't want to give that territory away. I'll just give it to some local noble. You'll get prestige up regardless because of the Greenland thing. That carried 3 Jarlsdommers. So that's 2 mini duchies, as they would say. Oh yeah, he was also fighting that war, and ever since we intervened, they fought back and defeated them. Yeah, I figured it's about time, because let's end the episode by holding court. A child of the court. I have faced the Thorbrand office sends Galdus sad eyes, which grow larger and more pitiful as Mother Alfheda gently ushers him to walk with her. Dróttning, she laments. The boys would say that is court, but no one to watch over him since the disappearance of his dear papa. He looked to his future. He is my own blood after all. Yes, your father was a brave man. At least I think he was. I mean, we don't know now, since he's dead. I'm sure he fought bravely. So this is the other nephew. And this is the one who rules the land now. You are here, sister. I have my other son, so I'll just say my hands are full, but I will find him a home. But nephew is here in Nidaros. Rivals in agreement. I recognize his next head of petition meeting. They are here Sid, Jan of Helgum, and Igil. A pair that are well known for their intense rivalry, worried or not arguing with each other. My lord, begins the hearsay, we have to tell you that many around are intensely dissatisfied with the current tax regime, and they find it to be unjustifiably extortionate. All of them are acting as one, and this only indicates to me that the problem is serious. Yikes, that won't work. In honor, I am not your enemy. He is. There's a 74% chance I will successfully exploit the rivalry between the two to turn them against each other. And I would gain the intrigued lifestyle experience as I would be manipulating their enemies. 25% chance that this would fail, and this is gonna inflame them more. And not to mention, both of them will form a rivalry with me, and I would gain unworthy ruler. Gotcha! The end is nigh. As soon as it's starting to speak, the agitated man in front of me screams, the end is nigh! The signs are clear now. The people of Fylke of Ástríðr knew all too well. Disorders, bandits, thieves, violence, and the disappearance of justice among men. Ragnarok is upon us. There's only one way for us to be saved. Purify your heart by purifying your body. Salvation can't be reached with a heavy belly. Repent now, for the day is nigh. I'm pregnant, you fool! I can't be, reducing the amount of food. Can't be an advocate, though pious it may sound. And I can't fire my good friend, Ástríðr. I'll just say nonsense. Burn this raving heretic. Although I think she would say that, knowing that she's zealous. I mean, he may be zealous, but the things he say is just nonsense. Business here is done. So if anybody that tries to scheme against me, no chance. No chance at all. I would know it of what may happen. I would like to have twice scheme. I'd like to have that one day. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will close that episode on the day of July 4th, the day that we founded the Kingdom of Norway, some years ago. I didn't think that war between us two would be prolonged like that. So in the next episode, we will not be resting just, let's see it. We will take these islands, and this would be our launching pad towards Iceland. And when we conquer Iceland, I will send my brother Togir to be sent to get all of these. Hopefully, about as much as we can. And maybe one day, you'll find yourself a suitable spouse. You got a lot to live for, you. And Iceland would be one of them. This is just a tip for the name of our dynasty. And in that next episode, we'll have another child. And now, since I have two lovers, but only one of you two would be chosen to me. So, we'll see you in the next episode. Until then, so long for now.